I still remember the night I realized something was wrong. Not because he said something strange, not because he stayed out late, but because he looked at me and smiled like nothing mattered. That smile used to mean safety. That smile used to mean truth. That night, it felt like a mask. People think betrayal comes loudly, with shouting, with slammed doors, with tears on the floor. But real betrayal is quiet. It sits across from you at dinner. It asks how your day was. It holds your hand while hiding a secret. And the worst part, I let him lie. Not because I was weak, but because I wanted the truth to reveal itself. I didn't know it then, but that decision would change everything. We had been together for years, long enough to build habits, long enough to trust silence, long enough to believe that comfort meant loyalty. He knew how I liked my tea. I knew when he was pretending to listen. We shared routines so deeply that breaking them felt impossible. That's why I ignored the first sign. He started guarding his phone. Not obviously. Not in a way you could accuse. Just little things. Turning it face down. Taking it to the bathroom. Smiling at messages he never explained. When I asked, he laughed. "Work stuff," he said. And I laughed too. Because trusting someone is easier than questioning them. The second sign came later. He began dressing better. Carefully choosing clothes he used to wear only on special days. Fixing his hair before leaving for quick errands. Checking his reflection one last time before walking out the door. None of that is a crime. But love teaches you patterns. And when patterns change, your heart notices before your mind does. I asked him once softly, without accusation, "Why so dressed up?" He smiled and kissed my forehead. "Just feeling good lately." I wanted to believe him. So I did. The third sign hurt the most. He stopped looking at me the same way. He was still kind, still present, still polite. But something was missing. That look that says, "You're my safe place." It was gone. When I spoke, he listened, but not deeply. When I laughed, he smiled, but not fully. It felt like sharing a room with someone who had already left. I lay awake at night beside him, staring at the ceiling, asking myself the same question over and over. Am I imagining this? People always warn you about red flags. They never tell you how easy they are to explain away. One evening, he told me he was meeting friends. His voice was calm. Too calm. He grabbed his keys, his phone, his jacket. I watched him from the couch. I noticed the small details he didn't realize he was showing. The excitement in his step. The nervous adjustment of his collar. That smile again. It wasn't for me. I asked casually, "Which friends?" He didn't hesitate. Just the usual. That was the moment. Not because of what he said, but because of how quickly he said it. Truth takes no effort. Lies are rehearsed. And he was ready. I didn't argue. I didn't follow him. I didn't cry. I simply nodded. "Okay, drive safe." He paused for half a second, like he expected something more. Then he left, and the house went silent. That silence was loud. It sat with me. It pressed against my chest. It asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. I walked through the house slowly, past the photos on the wall, past the memories we had framed like proof. I wanted to scream, but something inside me shifted. Anger didn't rise. Focus did. I realized something important that night. If I confronted him now, he would deny it. If I accused him without proof, he would turn it on me. If I cried, he would promise change without truth. I didn't want excuses. I wanted clarity. So I made a decision. I would watch. I would wait. I would let him lie. He came home late. later than usual. He smelled different. Not bad, just unfamiliar. He kissed my cheek and said, "Sorry it ran long." I looked into his eyes. They didn't blink. I smiled. "It's fine." That smile shocked even me. Because in that moment, I knew something he didn't. The truth always leaks. People think secrets are strong. They're not. They crack under patience. That night, he slept peacefully. I didn't. I stared at his back and wondered how someone could sleep so calmly while standing on a lie. I thought about all the moments I defended him to others. All the times I chose trust over doubt. And I felt something new. Not rage. Control. I realized I didn't need answers immediately. I needed timing. Because truth revealed too early gets dismissed. Truth revealed at the right moment destroys excuses. The next few days, I acted normal. I laughed when he joked. I asked about his day. I cooked dinner like always. But inside, I was listening differently. Watching differently. Not with fear. With intention. He started slipping. Tiny mistakes. Contradictions. Stories that didn't fully connect. He didn't notice. Because he thought I was still blind. One night, his phone buzzed while he was asleep. Just once. Then again. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The sound alone told me everything. I turned my face away and closed my eyes. Not because I was done, but because I was just getting started. I let him lie. Not forever. Just long enough. Because when the truth finally came out, I wanted it to come out on my terms. The strange thing about pretending everything is fine is that, after a while, it almost feels real. Almost. Days passed, and on the surface, nothing had changed. We still shared meals. We still talked about work, about plans, about small things that didn't matter. But beneath those conversations, something else was growing. Distance. Not the kind you can measure with space, but the kind you feel when someone is right next to you and still unreachable. I noticed it in the pauses. When I asked him how his day was, he answered quickly, like he was finishing a task. When I talked about mine, he nodded, but his eyes drifted away as if something else was calling him. He was here, but he wasn't present. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. I began to pay attention to details I once ignored. The way he checked his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. The way he muted notifications before putting it down. The way his mood lifted for no clear reason, then dropped just as suddenly. I didn't accuse. I didn't question. I listened. Because people reveal the truth most when they feel safe lying. One evening, while we were eating dinner, he laughed at something on his phone. It wasn't a loud laugh. Just a soft smile that stayed a little too long. I asked lightly, "What's funny?" He looked up, surprised, like I had pulled him out of another world. "Oh, nothing," he said. "Just a video." He locked his phone and slid it face down on the table. That small movement felt heavier than words. I nodded and kept eating. Inside, something tightened. I remembered how he used to show me everything. Funny messages, random thoughts, little moments he wanted to share. Now his phone was a wall, and I was standing on the outside. That night, I dreamed of standing in a room full of mirrors. Everywhere I looked, I saw reflections of us, smiling, happy, close. But when I reached out to touch them, my hand passed through empty air. I woke up with my heart racing. He was still asleep beside me, breathing slow and steady. I watched his chest rise and fall, and wondered how someone could feel so calm while slowly pulling away. The next day, I tried something different. I pulled back, not in a dramatic way, just enough to create space. I stopped asking extra questions, stopped filling silence with words, stopped reaching first. I wanted to see what he would do. At first, he didn't notice. Then slowly, he did. "Are you okay?" he asked one evening. His tone sounded concerned, but there was something else there too. Uncertainty. I looked at him and smiled. "I'm fine, just tired." He studied my face for a moment, like he was searching for something. Then he nodded. "Yeah, me too." And just like that, the moment passed. I realized then that we were both pretending. The difference was, I knew why. He started coming home later again. Not extremely late. Just late enough to feel intentional. When I asked, he had explanations ready. Work ran long. Traffic was bad. A friend needed help. Each reason sounded reasonable on its own. Together, they felt heavy. Like bricks stacked carefully to hide something underneath. One night, while folding laundry, I found a receipt in his pocket. It was from a cafe across town. A place we never went together. The date matched one of the nights he said he was working late. My hands froze. The room felt smaller. I stared at that piece of paper, feeling a rush of emotions collide inside me. Anger, sadness, confirmation. I could have confronted him right then. I almost did. But something stopped me. The receipt wasn't the full truth. It was a clue. And I needed more than clues. I put the receipt back, exactly where I found it. Then I sat on the bed and took a deep breath. This wasn't denial anymore. This was strategy. From that point on, I became quiet in a different way. Not distant, observant. I noticed how his stories changed, depending on who he was talking to. How he avoided certain topics. How he grew defensive over small questions that never bothered him before. Sometimes I tested him. Not with accusations. With memory. "You said you were with Mark that night, right?" He paused. "Yeah, why?" "No reason," I said. "Just forgot." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That pause told me everything. I wasn't chasing the truth anymore. I was letting it walk toward me. One afternoon, he left his laptop open on the table. The screen lit up with a message notification. I didn't read it. I didn't need to. The name was enough. A name I had never heard before. My chest tightened, but my face stayed calm. I closed the laptop gently, like I hadn't seen anything. Because reacting too early would warn him. And I didn't want him careful. I wanted him comfortable. That night, we sat together on the couch, watching a show neither of us was really paying attention to. He laughed at a joke. I laughed too, a second later. Our laughter didn't line up. It felt like a perfect symbol of what we had become. Two people sharing a space, but living different stories. As days turned into weeks, something unexpected happened. He started acting nicer. More attentive. More affectionate. It confused me at first. Then I understood. Guilt makes people generous. He brought flowers home one evening. For no reason, he said. I thanked him and smiled. Inside, I felt a strange mix of sadness and clarity. Because I knew this kindness wasn't love. It was compensation. I asked myself a question one night while lying awake. How long have I been grieving something that hasn't officially ended yet? The answer scared me. Longer than I realized. Still, I stayed quiet. Because every day he believed his lie was working, he relaxed more. He made bigger mistakes. Left more traces. Got careless. And I collected them all. Not on paper. In my mind. The truth was no longer a question. It was a shape forming in the dark. And soon, it would step into the light. I looked at him one evening as he talked about future plans. Plans that included me. Plans he spoke of with confidence. I nodded and smiled, letting him believe everything was fine. But inside, I made myself a promise. When the truth came out, it would come out completely. Because lies don't deserve mercy. They deserve exposure. There is a strange power that comes with knowing the truth while pretending you don't. It changes how you move, how you listen, how you look at someone who thinks they are in control. I stopped reacting. Not because I stopped feeling, but because I felt too much. Every word he spoke became information. Every smile became a signal. Every delay became a message. And the more comfortable he grew, the clearer everything became. He started leaving his phone unattended more often. Not long. Just long enough to prove he thought I wasn't paying attention anymore. He would place it on the table, screen down, and walk into the other room. I never touched it. I didn't need to cross that line. The truth was already showing itself without my help. One morning, he told me he had an early meeting. He dressed quietly, trying not to wake me. I lay still, listening. The door closed. The house fell silent. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message from a friend. "Hey, I just saw him at the cafe near my office." The same cafe. The one from the receipt. My heart didn't race. It slowed. Because doubt had finally turned into certainty. I replied simply, "Thanks." No questions. No explanations. I lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling something shift again. This time, it wasn't sadness. It was acceptance. When he came home that evening, he talked about his meeting. He described it in detail. Too much detail. People do that when they're trying to convince themselves. I listened carefully, nodding at the right moments. I asked one or two harmless questions. He answered smoothly, almost proudly. That confidence told me everything. From that day on, I watched him differently. Not like a partner, like a story unfolding. I noticed patterns. The days he stayed late. The nights he came home energized. The moments he withdrew emotionally, as if saving something for someone else. I noticed how he avoided eye contact when certain names came up. How his tone changed when he said he was busy. How he suddenly valued privacy more than connection. There was a moment one evening that stayed with me. We were cooking together. Something we used to do all the time. I asked him to pass the salt. He did, but his hand brushed mine and he pulled away quickly. Like touch surprised him. Like closeness required effort. That small reaction hurt more than any lie. Because it told me his heart was already somewhere else. I began spending more time alone. Not out of anger. Out of preparation. I walked. I thought. I replayed conversations in my mind. I asked myself hard questions. What do I really want from this? An apology? An explanation? Or the truth? The answer became clear. I wanted him to face himself. Late one night, I heard his phone buzz again. He was asleep. I watched the screen light up the room. This time, I saw the name clearly. The same name as before. I turned away. Because I already knew. And knowing was enough. The next morning, he was unusually cheerful. Humming while making coffee. Talking about weekend plans. I listened and smiled. Inside, I felt detached. Like I was watching a play where I already knew the ending. That afternoon, I decided to test something. Not with words. With absence. I told him I'd be out late. No details. No explanation. He nodded, barely looking up from his phone. "Okay," he said, "drive safe." No questions. No curiosity. That hurt more than I expected. Because it confirmed something painful. He wasn't worried about losing me. He thought I wasn't going anywhere. I came home later than usual. He was already asleep. His phone was on the charger, screen facing up. It buzzed once. Then again. I stood there watching. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Because at that moment, something became very clear. He wasn't even trying to hide anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at him. He looked peaceful, unbothered, like someone who believed he had gotten away with something. I felt a surge of emotion rise in my chest. Not rage, not tears. Resolve. That night, I made another decision. I would stop waiting for the truth to come to me. I would start shaping the moment it would be revealed. But not yet. Not until the timing was perfect. Over the next few days, I started asking questions. Not about him. About us. Do you think people change? Do you think honesty is always necessary? Do you think some truths do more harm than good? He answered casually, without suspicion, without hesitation. Every answer told me more about how he justified his actions. One evening, while we were sitting quietly, he said something that caught me off guard. "You know," he said, "I'm glad we trust each other." I turned to look at him. I held his gaze, and I smiled. Me too. That lie was harder to say than any other. But it was necessary. Because trust, once broken, doesn't need loud endings. It needs clarity. And clarity was coming. As I lay in bed that night, I felt calm. Calmer than I had felt in weeks. Because the waiting was almost over. The pieces were in place. The picture was clear. And soon, he would finally see the truth he thought he had buried. There's a special kind of loneliness that comes from sharing a bed with someone who no longer shares your truth. Every night, I lay beside him, listening to his breathing, feeling the space between us grow wider even though our bodies were inches apart. He slept easily. I didn't. My mind replayed moments over and over again. Words he said, smiles that felt borrowed, promises that sounded rehearsed. I realized something painful. I was grieving a relationship that still technically existed. During the day, I smiled more than ever. I became lighter, calmer, almost peaceful. People around me noticed. They said I seemed stronger. They didn't know it was because I had already let go. When you accept the truth quietly, you stop begging for it to change. He didn't notice my sadness. That hurt. But he did notice my silence. One evening, he asked again, "Are you sure you're okay?" His voice sounded careful. Not loving. Careful. I nodded. Just thinking a lot. He reached for my hand. It felt unfamiliar. I let him hold it anyway. Inside, I felt torn. Part of me wanted to scream. To lay everything on the table. To demand honesty. Another part of me knew that confronting him now would only give him a chance to rewrite the story. And I refused to let him control the ending. I started spending more time with myself. Long walks. Quiet evenings. Deep thoughts I had avoided for years. I asked myself why betrayal hurt so deeply. It wasn't just about loyalty. It was about choice. He had chosen secrecy over respect. Comfort over honesty. And in doing so, he had underestimated me. There were moments when doubt tried to creep back in. Moments when he was kind again. When he made dinner. When he remembered small details. When he laughed the way he used to. Those moments were dangerous. Because hope can be louder than logic. But every time I felt myself soften, something reminded me. A message buzz. A late night. A lie that didn't match yesterday's story. Reality always returned. One night, I sat alone in the living room, lights off, just listening to the quiet. I realized how much of myself I had poured into him. How often I had adjusted, compromised, waited. And how little of that effort he now returned. That realization hurt. But it also freed me. I thought about what justice meant to me. Not humiliation. Not cruelty. Truth. Exposure. Letting him face the consequences of his choices without anger clouding the moment. I wanted him to remember that moment forever. He started talking about the future again. Trips we would take. Plans we would make. A life he spoke of with confidence. I listened, nodding. Each word felt heavier than the last. Because the future he described was built on a lie. And lies collapse eventually. One evening, I finally cried. Not in front of him. In the shower, where sound disappears and water hides tears. I cried for what we were. For what we could have been. For the version of him I thought I knew. When I stepped out, my face was calm again. That was the last time I cried for him. That night, as he slept, I made my final promise to myself. I would not beg. I would not chase. I would not expose him out of emotion. I would wait. And when the truth came out, it would come out clean, clear, undeniable. I realized then that revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's patient. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's letting someone build their own fall while you simply step aside. The plan wasn't fully formed yet, but the foundation was there. And soon, very soon, I would stop being the silent observer. There is a moment after heartbreak when sadness stops leading and clarity takes its place. That moment came quietly, not with anger, not with tears, but with a simple thought that settled deep inside me. I don't need him to admit the truth. I need him to face it. From that point on, everything changed. I stopped reacting emotionally. When he was late, I didn't ask why. When he smiled at his phone, I didn't look away in pain. When he made promises, I didn't argue. I let him speak. Because lies grow louder and no one interrupts them. I began planning without writing anything down. No notes. No messages. No evidence that could be discovered. Everything stayed in my head. I replayed timelines, matched dates, connected patterns. I knew when he left. I knew where he went. I knew when his mood shifted. I didn't need names. I needed timing. The plan was simple. Not dramatic. Not cruel. Just precise. I would let him feel safe long enough to reveal everything himself. Because people reveal the most when they believe they've won. I started encouraging his comfort. I trusted him openly. Too openly. I stopped checking in. Stopped questioning schedules. Stopped asking for reassurance. He relaxed. And relaxation leads to carelessness. One evening, he told me he might travel for work. A sudden trip. I smiled. That's exciting, I said. You deserve it. He looked surprised. Then relieved. That reaction told me more than words ever could. I began saying yes more. Yes to plans. Yes to space. Yes to freedom. Not because I wanted to keep him. Because I wanted him unguarded. The hardest part was pretending not to care. Because I did. Deeply. But I reminded myself of the truth every time doubt tried to soften me. Love doesn't hide. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't ask you to compete with silence. I practiced my calm. In the mirror. In my thoughts. In conversations. I imagined different outcomes. Different reactions. And I trained myself to stay steady through all of them. Because the moment I revealed the truth, I didn't want tears. I wanted impact. There were moments when he tested me. Do you ever get jealous? He asked once, laughing. I smiled back. Why would I? His laugh sounded nervous. Good. I watched how he spoke about honesty with others. How he criticized people who lied. How confident he sounded in his own moral ground. The irony was almost unbearable. But I stayed quiet. Because irony is best served exposed. One night, he forgot his phone in the car. He didn't realize until morning. That alone told me how safe he felt. I handed it to him without comment. He looked at me for a moment, then smiled. That smile would disappear soon. I noticed something else too. The more comfortable he became, the more distant he grew. He wasn't trying to balance anymore. He was investing elsewhere. That made my decision easier. The plan reached its final shape. The setting, the timing, the audience. Not to embarrass him, but to remove his escape routes. I wanted no room for denial. No space for excuses. Only truth. I chose a moment when he would least expect it. A moment he felt powerful, secure, certain. Because nothing unsettles a liar more than confidence taken away in public clarity. I slept well that night, for the first time in weeks, because I wasn't waiting anymore. I was ready. He had no idea. And that was the point. Once a lie goes unchallenged long enough, the person telling it starts to believe it. I saw that happening to him. He spoke with confidence now, moved with certainty, planned his days without hesitation. The careful balance he once tried to maintain was gone. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was assuming. He started canceling plans with me more often, always with reasons that sounded important. Work deadlines, unexpected meetings, last-minute changes. I nodded and said I understood. And every time I did, his shoulders relaxed just a little more. One night, he told me he wouldn't be home. No explanation this time. Just a statement. I'll stay out tonight. I looked up from what I was doing. Okay, I said calmly. Text me when you're safe. He hesitated, then nodded. That hesitation told me he wasn't expecting calm. He was expecting resistance. And when he didn't get it, his confidence grew. I spent that night alone. Not waiting. Not worrying. Preparing. I replayed the plan in my mind again and again. Every detail had to land clean. Because the truth, once revealed, doesn't get a second chance. When he came back the next morning, he looked tired but satisfied. He kissed my forehead. Sorry about last night. I smiled. It's fine. Those 2 words became my shield. He began sharing stories about people he met. Not directly, just enough to make himself sound interesting. I listened without reaction, and he mistook my silence for trust. One afternoon, he left his phone unlocked on the table. A message appeared. Clear, undeniable. I didn't read it fully. I didn't need to. I already knew where everything was heading. This wasn't discovery anymore. It was confirmation. I noticed a change in myself too. I felt lighter. Not because I was winning, but because I had stopped losing myself to his choices. My emotions were no longer tied to his actions. That distance gave me strength. He started talking about honesty again, about how much he valued it, about how he hated lies. I wondered if he could hear himself, or if he had convinced himself so deeply that he no longer saw the contradiction. A week before the moment I had chosen, he said something that almost made me stop. I don't know what I'd do without you. He said it casually, like a comfort, not like a promise. For a second, my heart softened. Then I remembered. People can say many things, but choices tell the real story. The night before everything would change, I barely slept. Not from fear, from focus. I reminded myself why I was doing this. Not for revenge, for closure, for truth, for myself. The next day arrived quietly, like any other. He didn't sense anything. He never did, because he believed I was still standing where he left me. He was wrong. As the hours passed, I felt calm, centered, ready. The moment was close now. And once it happened, there would be no turning back. There is a quiet before every storm. Not the kind filled with fear. The kind filled with certainty. That's where I was. Certain. I chose the moment carefully. Not a dramatic night. Not an emotional argument. Not a private conversation where he could twist words. I chose normal. Because truth hits hardest when it interrupts comfort. It was a small gathering. Nothing suspicious. Just people we both knew. People he trusted. People who saw us as stable, solid, unbreakable. That mattered. Because lies survive best in isolation. Truth survives best in light. He was relaxed that day. Confident. He dressed well. Smiled easily. Moved like someone who believed he had everything under control. I watched him from across the room and felt no anger. Only clarity. Throughout the evening, he stayed close. Not out of love. Out of image. He laughed loudly. Touched my shoulder. Played the part perfectly. I let him. Because the higher someone stands on a lie, the harder the fall feels. At one point, someone asked us how long we'd been together. He answered quickly. Proudly. With certainty. I nodded along. Smiling. Letting him build the moment himself. Inside, I felt steady. I had prepared for this. I had rehearsed my tone. Calm. Clear. Unemotional. Because emotion invites debate. Truth ends it. The conversation shifted. Stories were shared. Laughter filled the room. Then someone made a simple comment. About honesty. About trust. About how rare it was. I felt it. The opening. I took a breath. Not to gather courage. To signal the end. I agree, I said softly. Honesty matters more than anything. The room quieted just a little. He turned toward me. Smiling. Encouraging. He thought I was supporting him. I used to think silence was weakness, I continued. But I've learned something. I met his eyes. Didn't break contact. Silence is sometimes just patience. The air changed. Not sharply. Slowly. Like people sensing something shift without knowing what. I let you lie, I said calmly. For a long time. His smile froze. Just slightly. Barely noticeable. But I saw it. Because I wanted the truth to feel safe enough to show itself. The room went completely quiet. He laughed. A short sound. Confused. What are you talking about? I didn't answer him. I addressed the room. I didn't ask questions. I didn't accuse. I didn't react. I looked back at him. I watched. Someone shifted in their seat. Someone else looked away. The truth was stepping forward now. You told me you were working late, I said evenly. You told me you were with friends. I paused. And you told me I had nothing to worry about. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Then tried again. This isn't the time. It's the perfect time, I said. Still calm. Still controlled. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't expose details. I didn't need to. Because his face was doing that for me. You were never careful, I continued. Just comfortable. That word landed hard. Comfortable. The silence felt heavy now. Unavoidable. Everyone was listening. And he knew it. He tried to speak. To explain. To laugh it off. But explanations require space. And I gave him none. I don't need answers anymore, I said. I already have them. I stood. Slowly. Gracefully. I just wanted the truth to hear itself out loud. I looked at the room, then back at him. This is where I stopped carrying your secret. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't need closure from him. I had already taken it back. As I walked away, I felt something release. Not satisfaction. Freedom. Behind me, the room buzzed. Questions. Whispers. Shock. But none of it mattered anymore. Because the truth had landed. And it wasn't mine to protect. The moment I spoke, everything changed. Not immediately. Not violently. But quietly, unmistakably. He froze. Eyes wide. Jaw tight. Confidence evaporating like mist in sunlight. For the first time in months, he was speechless. The room held its breath. People didn't know what to say. They were sensing the shift, feeling the weight of words unspoken until now. And I stood there calm, unshaken, because I had already rehearsed this in my mind 1,000 times. He tried to laugh nervously, a small, shaky sound, but it died in his throat. He opened his mouth to explain, to redirect, to minimize. I held up a hand. Don't, just don't. The control was mine now. People looked at him, then at me, and then back at him. The truth doesn't need elaboration. It needs witnesses, and witnesses change everything. He stammered. It's not what you think. I shook my head slowly. You made it what it is. Silence returned. A friend whispered, I never thought, I didn't see it coming. Another nodded. I let them. Because the truth spoken aloud becomes undeniable. And lies, no matter how long practiced, crumble in the open. He tried again, softer this time. I didn't mean. I cut him off. Intent doesn't erase choice. Actions matter more than words. And the truth has been here all along. The room was heavy with it. His attempts to charm or excuse dissolved instantly. He looked around, realizing everyone had seen him differently now. The careful mask he had worn for months was gone, and no smile could put it back. Finally, he looked at me, eyes searching, panicked, confused. Why didn't you say anything sooner? I met his gaze, calm and unwavering. Because the right time matters. Because patience reveals what words can't. Because the truth always finds its way out. He sank into a chair, his head in his hands, and I watched quietly. Not out of malice, not out of joy, but because truth is the most powerful form of justice. Others murmured quietly. Some offered sympathy. Some glanced between us in disbelief. I didn't care. I cared only that the truth had landed. Pure, unshakable. Final. He finally spoke again, voice almost breaking. I messed up. No excuses. No attempts at defense. Just acknowledgement. And in that moment, I realized the power of patience. The rest of the evening passed in a haze. I stayed composed. Not proud. Not victorious. Just free. Because the burden of carrying someone else's lies was gone. And now, he carried the weight of his own choices. When the night ended, I left quietly. No arguments. No drama. No need to explain further. I had done what I came to do. I had shown that silence can be stronger than confrontation. And timing can be sharper than anger. As I walked away, I reflected. Truth isn't loud. Truth isn't cruel. It's inevitable. And when revealed with patience, it destroys deception far more effectively than rage ever could. The days after that evening were strange. Not empty. Not filled with regret. But different. Like stepping into a room you've never noticed before, even though you've lived there for years. I didn't reach out to him. He didn't try to reach me. And that was fine. The truth had done its work. No arguments. No dramatics. No chance to twist it. It simply existed. I focused on myself. The small things I had neglected in the past. Hobbies I had let slip away. Moments I hadn't spent truly present in. I realized how much of my life had revolved around someone else's choices. And now I could reclaim it. He existed in my life differently. Not erased. Not entirely absent. But diminished. No longer the center of my world. No longer the holder of my trust. It was a relief I hadn't expected. Friends noticed. "You seem lighter," they said. "Stronger," another added. And I smiled quietly. Because they didn't need to know the full story. I didn't need to explain the quiet strength that came from patience. I learned to listen differently now. Not just to others, but to myself. My instincts. My needs. My boundaries. And that lesson became more important than any single relationship. He moved on eventually. In small ways at first. A new routine. A different rhythm. And I didn't watch him. I didn't seek closure from him anymore. Because the closure had always been mine to take. I allowed myself to hope again. For people who value honesty. For connections that build rather than break. For love that doesn't require guessing games or quiet suffering. And when I thought back to that night, the night I let him lie, the night I waited, I understood something essential. Patience isn't passive. Silence isn't weakness. Truth is strongest when revealed with intention. I still remember the moment clearly. The calm room. The faces around us. His shock. The realization that the world had been watching all along. It wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. It was about reclaiming power quietly. And about showing that deceit has limits, no matter how long it is hidden. I moved forward with clarity. No anger. No desire to punish. Just awareness. And strength. Because life continues, and the people who truly belong in it reveal themselves naturally. And the rest, they fall away exactly as they should. After everything, I finally understood the true power of patience. Not in revenge. Not in anger. Not in shouting or confrontation. But in waiting. Watching. Letting truth reveal itself in its own time. Life isn't about catching someone in a mistake. It's about recognizing patterns. Understanding intentions. And most importantly, choosing when and how to act. I let him lie. Not to humiliate him. Not to hurt him. But to create a moment where the truth could no longer be ignored. And it worked. There's a strange clarity that comes after such an experience. I learned that trust is precious. That patience can be stronger than any outburst. That self-respect is the foundation for true power. I also learned about people. Some will hide, deceive, and manipulate. Others will quietly observe and wait. And the difference is in intention, not action. I chose intention. The moment the truth was revealed didn't bring joy or satisfaction in the way revenge stories promise. It brought freedom, a sense of control over my own life. The knowledge that I could face deception calmly, strategically, and without losing myself. I moved forward, not bitterly but consciously. I invested in relationships built on honesty. I nurtured connections where silence wasn't a weapon, but a shared peace. I treasured moments where trust was mutual, not fragile. Sometimes I think back to him, not with anger, not with longing, but with understanding. People make choices. Some choices hurt others. Some are irreversible. And the lesson isn't in punishment. It's in clarity. If there's one thing I want anyone listening to take from my story, it's this. You don't always need to confront a lie immediately. You don't always need to fight the betrayal head-on. Sometimes, patience, observation, and self-respect reveal truths far stronger than any argument. Betrayal teaches us who people truly are. Revenge isn't about chaos. It's about justice in timing and intention. And the greatest victory comes not from hurting someone else, but from reclaiming your own peace and power. I let him lie. I let the truth come out on my terms. And in doing so, I discovered something far more important than revenge: freedom, clarity, and the unshakable knowledge that truth always finds its way.